if you're talking about black empowerment and black culture, black unity, how can you support black unity when the biggest union you ever create is with somebody that's not black?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, my favorite podcast, everybody's favorite podcast, Afronomics. We have a special host-only episode for y'all today, and we're gonna get a lot of comments for this one. I'm loving it. We're gonna have a good conversation. My boy, what we talking about? Tell the people.
Oh, my name is Sita
Oh,
Nabuya.
I don't have a name.
Just in case, yeah. Just in case y'all wanted to know. He trying to stay anonymous because of this topic.
My name is Llewellyn Dave Dixon, the only. There is none like me. There you go.
All right, yeah. So this one, we ain't even got no wallet for today. This episode is gonna be very interesting, maybe a little controversial.
Don't cancel us, and if you do, my bad.
But you
Your
know,
bad.
these opinions are our own. So don't be offended or nothing. But today's topic is: can you be pro-black and marry outside of your race? Yeah. Yeah. That's the question. First, before we get into it, we gotta define what
is pro-black?
What does pro-black even mean? Just to make sure that we all on the same page about what it is.
What it is.
So this is the definition we're gonna go with. Being pro-black means actively supporting and celebrating black people, culture, and identity. It's a stance that promotes black empowerment, often involving a focus on building black power structures, advocating for policies that benefit black communities, and fostering unity and pride within the black community. It does not inherently mean being anti-other races. Now, Mr. Llewellyn Dave Dixon, let's start with you. What is your stance on this topic?
Well, before we do that, can you send me that definition? Because the linguist in me wants to go through certain words there so I can, as I prove my points. That's the definition we're going to work with for this one. And that I haven't seen it, as I just said. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't form any of my opinions based off of that. I have my opinions because I have my opinions. I think, yes, you can be pro-black and marry outside of your race. However, because I think being pro-black it's a state of mind, heart, whatever. Like the end of the definition said, it doesn't mean that you're against any other races. But I think to really say that you're really about it and have like the real clout for it, it is the totality of doing all that you can to uplift and keep black. Yeah. Keep black. So I have noticed there are, in my experiences, there are the people who are fighting for black liberation or whatever who have also decided to marry outside of their race. A lot of times those people do a lot of overcompensating to try and prove their worthiness to the community. I've seen.
Really explain, like how? You trying not to call nobody out?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to say it without saying it. So you have folks who will do the most to like say where they're from or talk about where they're from or things like that to kind of validate their blackness when they're talking to other black people because they now have a white spouse or whatever involved in it, and they'll try to like say things and quote things like it almost sounds in a lot of ways. So I'm talking about three people that I know of, and these three people are leaders. They have loud voices in the community. They do things in the community in a lot of ways. Yeah, I'll leave that alone. But they have they in what they do and how they say things is almost as the equivalent of a white man trying to prove his loyalty and faithfulness to the community. I'm not saying everybody who's in interracial relationships are like this, but I think it's easier to say that you are pro-black and live pro-black if you have a black spouse. That's just it. And I'm not saying you should control you can control who you fall in love with, because you can't. But that's just, it is what it is. I found there's a lot of, it seems to be there's some sort of internal struggle amongst the people who
Yeah.
are trying to be pro-black and also marry outside their race.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, looking back, if you're talking about black empowerment and black culture, black unity, how can you support black unity when the biggest union you ever create is with somebody that's not black? So that's, one part of the conversation. When you look at it from a unity perspective. Also, I think the foundation of any community, as particularly black community, the foundation is the family. So if your family isn't black, like that's really one of the cornerstones of building strong communities, which is really one of the biggest things we had. We never really had unity. And when you aren't intentional with or by marrying a black partner, then that kind of creates an issue. It's the building block of community is the black family. Your family isn't black. How do you add to the community? For one, for two, you run to the issue like we reacted to the Dr. Umar clip, and one of the things he was talking about was legacy. Now, when it comes to children, your kids are now mixed, biracial, and it's not to disparage biracial people, but what happens a generation down the line? Think about Drake, his son. His son is a quarter black, and I'm not to pick on Drake, his child, but he looks white, like he's pretty much white passing, and sometimes you'll have, and I can respect interracial kids who will really adhere to their black side and uplift their black side, but that don't happen a lot of the time. A lot of times you'll have like a biracial kid and then they'll pretty much align with one side, and it's typically going to be the side in power, which in our society currently is not black folks. So you got a lot of people that reject that black side, and then like as pro-black as you are, 2 generations down the line, your grandchildren are no longer black. My family, I have my family from Sierra Leone. They told me the story. My grandma had a brother that moved to London and lived there for like the rest of his life. He moved when he was a young man, started a family. His kids were mixed. His grandkids, he came back with his grandkids to Sierra Leone. I have an auntie, they said looks like Taylor Swift. Like white, blonde hair.
That's crazy.
And we're related by blood.
That's crazy.
So it's like, 2 generations down the line, your kids aren't black. But my answer to the question is actually yes, you can be pro-black because there's examples like Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah is, first president of Ghana, went to HBCU, pledged Sigma, was the first president of Ghana, one of the biggest Pan-Africans, ended up getting exiled because of what he did for black people. I cannot fix my lips to say that Kwame Nkrumah is not pro-black. I can't do it. I can't ignore the contributions that he made to black people and to the Pan-African movement just because he married somebody outside his race. I can't throw away everything he did. I can't say he's not pro-black. And then you got other people like Sheikh Anta Diop, who's a black professor.
I didn't know his wife is not white.
Who, Kwame
It's not
Nkrumah?
black. No, Sheikh Anta.
Sheikh Anta Diop, his wife was not. Yeah, his wife was not black.
Oh wow.
Anthropologist that he found the evidence that said the ancient Egyptians, the Kemites, were black. He proved that. His wife was not black. So I can't ignore the contributions he's made to promoting black people because of who he decided to marry. I think sometimes like you marry who you marry. Like it's a situation. I think, emotions are always gonna play a role. Like people marry people for irrational reasons that go against logic all the time. So while I look at it from a point of positivity, I would promote black love and say be intentional, but I wouldn't necessarily disparage somebody for not following suit.
So people have asked me like, how do I feel about it? Because everybody knows I'm very, 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 very pro-black. Like, how do I feel about interracial relationships? I don't discourage it. If it happens, it happens. But I'm also not gonna like. I have my preference of black and black. So we have people like so let's take it to celebrities that we know of, right? Most recently, Quinta Brunson was under fire. The woman who did Abbott Elementary. And what's it called? He got money. I love her stuff. We love Quinta. There's no shade, no hate towards that. But why did she feel like she had to hide the fact that her husband was white this entire time?
Was she hiding it?
I mean, it didn't. There was a clip that she was in a podcast and she was like, she made a joke. I'm going to assume it was a joke where she was like, oh, I don't know no white people.
That's crazy.
I'm going to assume it was a
That's
joke because
crazy.
she's a comedian.
Yeah, that's true.
Childish Gambino also, his wife is white, and he kept that under wraps for the longest time. And he's also very pro-black, and so it's like these celebrities that and again, I'm not against it, but it's like if that's you, own it and be cool about it. Like don't
hide it.
Don't hide it, because then it
You
looks
ain't got a
like
lot of kick
you were trying to okie doke folks.
Yeah.
Like just be who you are, and then and that's it. But nah, I don't think it invalidates your pro-blackness. I do think if you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with somebody. So be it. That's what it is. However, it's better for the culture and the people if we keep it black and black.
I mean, I think it's also it's one of those things, like, it sounds good and in theory you can be. I think in practice that's usually not the case. Like, I think most of the time there's you can be pro-black and marry outside. I think most of the times it's not the same. And let's be clear, not being pro-black does not automatically make you a coon. Like, it's not like a one or the
Yes.
other. So it's like you're not going against the race just because. So it's like, but I think most people that marry outside the race aren't necessarily pro-black. And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and also I wanna distinguish two types of people here. There's people who are like black leaders, like the people who are like the pro-black leaders, and then there's your everyday average Joe type of person who's just living their life and
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not talking about the everyday average Joe type of person who's just living their life, because they don't have any real. There's not like any particular stances that they may have taken publicly to lead anything
Yeah.
or voice
If you,
their
the
thoughts or
more
appointments.
out there you talking about
Exactly.
it, the more of a
So it's more like
standard.
if you out here talking about stuff, then it's like, okay, now let's look at your life and see what your life is like.
do you live that? Do
Yeah,
you practice what you preach?
exactly. That's where I'm talking about. So that's why I'm the people that I mentioned before, they're leaders, and I'm talking about people like Childish Gambino and Quentin Brunson, because they're out there and they're very outspoken about being pro-black. That's like if Issa Rae, after being famous for saying I'm voting for everybody
Vote
black,
for everybody black.
now she goes and marries a white man.
Yeah.
That's when it's like,
a little contradictory.
sis, what's up? How you really feel about the
Yeah.
situation?
No, that's a good point. And I'm gonna look at the camera when I say this. If you do marry outside your race or you date outside your race, do not ever be disrespectful to the people in your race, because that is a sign of self-hate. If you want to marry
Facts.
Becky with the good hair, and that's you, that's who you love, don't ever dare disrespect black women saying that they ain't this, they ain't that, because you decided to marry outside your race. That's disrespectful, it's anti-black, and it shows self-hate. So we do not condone that. You do what you want for you, celebrate you, but don't ever disparage people in your race. That's not okay.
And also, to add to that point, don't go outside of your race because you blocked in every group of every woman or every man in your race and just put them all in the same box and said, oh, black women ain't nothing or black men ain't nothing. No, that's your experience with whomever you have decided to surround yourself around. Because I know a lot of white women and Asian women or whatever that have some of the traits that y'all say y'all hate in black women, and it's there too.
Yeah.
So don't go out there trying to disparage nobody
And
just because of your experiences.
and be wary of being fetishized too. You seen this black boyfriend effect thing on TikTok?
Dog.
That's wild. Like they talking about some black boyfriend effect, and it's like, oh, you just wearing J's now. Like that's what you reduce the black man to.
So I've never been with anybody outside of my race, because I've been specifically not white, because I refuse to have a moment where we might have to edit. I don't want, if you say BBC, I'm done. I refuse to be especially, I'm African. We're not having that conversation. That's going to feel like I'm some sort of fantasy slave whatever thing to you. It's weird. I can't do it. It feels weird. It's uncomfortable. I've never done it.
I would hope white women do that.
I
Really?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
That's insane.
I've seen it.
I mean, that's what we got. What's the name?
And I've heard stories.
What's the name? Shannon? Isn't that what Unc did? Wasn't that part of the text?
Can't do it, big dog. I can't do it. No.
Yeah, no.
I want to speak on like the families. Like, let's say he marries into a white family, his family or her family, her mom, her dad, how they feel about like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another point too. Marrying into certain families and you don't know how they feel about you.
Yeah. A lot of times they'll make it known. Cause like just because your partner is progressive and more liberal, don't mean her parents are. And
Like,
yeah.
what's the white comedian? The white dude who married a black
Bill
woman?
Burr or Gary
Owen.
Yeah.
He talked about how his father is racist. But he's not, apparently, according to him, he's like his dad is not like, I hate black people. He just don't know no black people. And so his ideas of who black people are just destroyed. But Gary Owen has only ever been with black women. And that's one of those things where it's like, okay, the person likes you, but how their family feel?
Yeah. And
Are you ever gonna really feel like family, like at home?
Yeah,
when you're around
your
them?
family's married, at least, especially in like our community and our culture, your family married the other family. So it's like, it's not just a union of y'all y'all tied. Y'all tied together. And if you literally got family that hates you, that's not a good look. And I outside of just race, I wouldn't want to marry somebody and they got to choose between me and their family. Like, to me, because that's your foundation. Because if you got to cut them off to be with me, now you done lost a whole a part of your support system, which puts more burden on me. And not to say that I don't want to be there or be supportive, but it's like, I think a lot of times that puts an extra strain on the relationship when you have to be everything to your partner.
Yeah.
So you can't rely on stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I personally, I have white cousins. I call them, they're my white cousins. My cousins have married white people. And they're cool. Like, I love them. They've been fully adopted into the family, all of that.
Yeah.
You know what Africans do? One of the first things we do when somebody is outside the culture, we ask them what food that have they eaten. And no, they've completely adopted a culture and that's family. There's not a problem with it, but it's just like you gotta make sure I actually haven't talked to my cousin about my blood related cousin about how their spouses feel about how their spouses' families feel about their relationships. I also haven't heard any horror stories, but I also haven't asked. That'd be interesting. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah,
so cousins, if y'all watching, y'all might get a phone call.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think if it works for you, it works for y'all. Marriage in itself is difficult. So if you can find somebody that's gonna rock with you for the long term, yeah, nigga could be purple like shit.
Facts.
Make it happen. So yeah, we don't want to discourage nothing.
So to answer the question, can you be pro-black and marry outside of your race? The answer is yes, with a caveat. However, there are some things that you must consider along the way. And yes.
Yeah. It's a wrap. Well, wait, you about to say?
No, go ahead.
I was saying that's a wrap, unless you had
No,
something.
wrap it up, yeah.
Unless y'all wanted to speak on like representation in the community, like how if they were to have children, will they see people like them? Will they see people like?
Yeah, no, we spoke on that, but it brings up a good point though about like legacy, because like if you're black, but by the time, especially because Dr. Umar brought up the example of Kobe. You know, his kids are mixed. Now, if his daughter, so of course he made a lot of money as an athlete, a lot of money, athlete endorsements, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, hands down. And there's a lot of money that are going to be passed down. You know, is left to his wife, now to their kids. If his kids then partner with somebody who is not black, Kobe's grandchildren are not gonna be black. Like they're not even gonna be looking like they're gonna look
Nothing
like other
that.
races.
Yeah.
Now that essentially took all of that wealth that he built that would have normally stayed in the black community had he married a black woman is now going to another community. So from a wealth building standpoint, generational wealth, you essentially could lose
all of that,
and it could be pushed outside the black community.
Exactly.
Especially if your kids don't
have the ties.
The
ties and the heart towards it. If honestly, if you didn't raise them to have the ties towards it.
And and sometimes it's like, kids don't do what you say, they do what they see. So like if you're a black dad and you got a white wife and you have mixed kids, your son is more than likely gonna marry a white woman because we tend to, it's actually proven psychologically, we tend to partner up with people that remind us of our parents, and particularly the opposite sex parent.
Yep.
So like if you're a black mixed boy with a black dad, white mom, you're more likely gonna be attracted to white women. Same with like if you're a black girl with white dad and a black mom, you might be more attracted to white men like Karen Parsons, who played Hillary on Fresh Prince.
Yep.
I think Paula Patton too.
Yep.
Meghan Markle.
Tia and Tamara Mowry.
They don't. Yeah. Like you don't. We don't talk about like the black women with white men, but it happens a lot, and a lot of times it's that same dynamic of who is your opposite sex parent.
Yep.
And you kind of fall in line with that.
Yep.
So something to think about. So look at it from a legacy building perspective. It's not just who you're marrying and it's a decision for you. Of course, marry who you love, but think about the long term. At least consider it. I'll say that. At least consider it.
And I'm gonna reiterate too, if you choosing to marry outside of your race is based on anything other than you genuinely fell for this particular person, if it's based on you made a decision to not marry outside to marry outside your race because you just don't like your own race of people, please don't get married before you go handle that in therapy some way, shape, or form, because that's a brokenness that you're gonna pass down to your kids, and we just don't need that.
Yeah, self-hate is very subtle and it can be internalized without you even noticing. So if you feel, and sometimes you project, sometimes you hate other black people or hate having a black partner because you hate yourself in some way, shape, or form. So just make sure that you really do the work to understand yourself and that you love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love somebody else, not properly at least.
Facts.
So.
Facts. All right, you want to close us out?
Yeah. All right. That's it's a short episode today, but very interesting topic. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. And we'll be back with more content, more long episodes, more Walla. And we'll see you next time. Till then, Afronomics out.
We out.